right. Well, sorry to disappoint our fans. That is, we are in fact not a podcast on Happy Tree Friends.
No.
Uh, Thano doesn't even know what the hell Happy Tree Friends are.
And I refuse to learn.
Yeah, man, listen,
Yeah.
that was.
I say, ah! It's a sound effect.
It's a sound.
I say no.
I'll send you like a little clip of Happy Tree Friends at some point.
Yeah.
And man, that was like mid 2000s
Okay.
MTV.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't really watch MTV.
Yeah.
You know what show I watched the most episodes of on MTV?
What?
Take two guesses. Well, I googled to just make sure it was MTV and not VH1.
Was it that video mods where they played songs
Nope.
to video games?
Nope.
Was it Next?
Nope.
Was it Damage Control?
Nope. All
was
wrong.
it Viva La Bam or Jackass?
All wrong. The show I watched on MTV the most.
Fucking real life.
No, but it was a show that marked MTV's downturn into being the reality show.
Jersey
network.
Shore.
No. A Shot at Love.
With Flavor
Tequila.
Was it VH1 that had the Flavor of Love?
I think Flavor of Love was also on MTV.
What a
Flavor of Love was the original.
What a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive. Zoomers, you were missing out.
I remember the big deal with the Tila Tequila one was that like they had guys and chicks.
Yes.
Like that was a big fucking deal.
Big
It's
deal.
A big fucking deal.
Flavor of Love was VH1.
See, I know my shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, now that we completely kicked everyone off, everybody's interest is lost.
What do you think this episode is about, kids? That you can't guess.
Well, today we are talking about Jordan Peele's Nope. Nope.
Yep. Not to be confused with Ope.
Not with Ope.
Yep.
It's not Midwestern.
Not Midwestern. Not with O.P. The guy from the child from the Andy Griffith Show, played
Who?
by Ron Howard.
What?
Ron Howard got his start on the Andy Griffith Show. He played a child named Opie. You know the Andy Griffith Show.
I don't think I do. No.
Whistling. Yeah.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Before
But
our
anyway.
time. Yep.
Anyway, we are talking about Nope.
Nope.
I would say an adequate follow-up to his other two movies.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
It's a good movie. I will say it is objectively a good movie.
Yes.
Degree.
And also objectively, my predictions were right before this movie.
Oh, that this would be his worst.
Yes.
Well.
Yes.
So, all right. So hear me out. I feel like there is a phenomena that happens where a movie might not be bad. A movie may actually be good.
Yep.
But maybe it's not fantastic. At least I don't think it is.
Yeah.
But then everybody's like, "This movie's so fucking good. This movie's fantastic. This is the best fucking movie." And I'm like, I kind of don't want to like it now because I know it's okay.
Yeah.
But I don't think it deserves. And I think this movie is kind of falling into that spot for me.
So I've actually heard a lot of negative criticism on this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I feel like my opinions kind of align with most people.
On the negative, more negative end.
But even those negative opinions are still like, yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's just not like amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's more or less where I fall. I think it's still a really good movie. It's a very well made, very competently made movie.
Yes, beautifully shot.
Beautifully shot.
Beautifully shot.
I think anything
And
that is
acted.
technical.
Yep.
Anything technical, I think it's very, very well made.
Yes.
There are some shots in this that are fantastic. There's a shot in the trailer. Yeah, yeah, that good.
Yeah.
There is a shot in the trailer of OJ riding Lucky the horse
Yeah.
with the UFO in the background.
Yeah.
Like, I think that is like a really cool shot. It looked really good in IMAX. That being said, I think there is also a lot to criticize in this movie.
Yeah.
It's a movie that just kind of feels kind of like you're trying to make a status, but it's kind of like, yeah, everybody knows that.
Yeah. So should we get into our synopsis and then I mean, this was kind of our quick review. But do we want to give it a quick
Yeah, let's
little?
give our quick little synopsis on this.
Yeah.
And so go ahead and you can do the
Yeah.
synopsis.
The residents of a lonely gulch. Good word. $5 word. Gulch.
Mm-hmm.
In inland California, bear witness to an uncanny and chilling discovery.
Yeah, so it's a very simple story.
Yep.
I think as far as like synopsis goes, right? So we follow a brother and sister duo.
Yep.
We have
OJ.
OJ, uh, played by Daniel Kaluuya.
Yep.
Does a really good job.
Excellent job.
There,
Does
as does Kiki Palmer
as M.
as Emerald. Yeah,
Yeah.
Emerald. She goes by M. They are the kids of a man named Otis.
Yeah.
Now OJ, his name is not
Orenthal
Orenthal.
James.
Yeah, no, his name is Otis as well.
Jr. Yeah.
Otis Jr. Right. So there is a really funny joke about that in the movie.
Yeah.
Where they kind of go, "Oh, OJ,
Yeah.
interesting." And I'm like, "Yeah, man, I don't know if you want to go by that, but whatever."
Yeah.
They are the inheritors of a horse wrangling business in
for
Hollywood.
films. Yes.
And it's a big deal that they are the only black-owned
Yes.
horse wranglers.
And that little niche of the industry itself is just kind of dying.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I guess dying would be the right term for it. Everything is being kind of replaced by CG, which
Damn you, George Lucas.
I mean, it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't, right?
Yeah.
So like people kind of go, well, if you can do things digital, why would you stress out an animal?
Yeah.
Very PETA thinking. But then there's also something about like having the actual horse there.
Yeah.
And supporting a black.
You know what?
Black-owned business.
And you know what did not cross my mind until now? Was that fucking horse in Game of Thrones season 8?
The horse in season 8?
There's a white horse that Arya Stark comes across, and like when King's Landing is burned, right?
Oh, right.
And then you're like, the horse is framed as being like this important horse,
mm-hmm.
and then she just uses it to ride to wherever the fuck like she rides to.
Really quick, might want to get a little closer to your microphone.
A little bit closer now.
Yeah, I think yours is picking up as well, so maybe talk a little closer into it.
All right. But it is an interesting dynamic in terms of, like you said, supporting people and their business versus animal protection.
Yeah. So there it's again, it's a damn that you do, damn that you don't. So the story begins with our two friends here who are struggling. Right, business is not great. So there's a tragedy that happens at the beginning. They are left taking care of this business, and they have to get work.
Yes.
In a very cutthroat industry.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like this movie does a good job at telling you Hollywood kind of sucks.
So it tells you Hollywood kind of sucks. I think it does an adequate job in telling you that Hollywood kind of sucks. I don't want
an adequate or an inadequate.
Adequate.
Okay.
I don't want to jump the gun here with my opinions.
Sure.
Been there, done that. Like...
Yeah. Again, I feel like this is a movie that there is no new ground being tread, and it's fine. I mean, you don't need to be completely 100% original.
Yeah.
Was I expecting more? Probably. From him.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's fine. It is important, I think, to understand that it's not just that Hollywood will use you and then dump you when you are no longer considered like a commodity.
Right.
But I think it's also important to understand that, like, when it comes to like people of color in the industry and like women, right? Like, there's the old joke: as soon as you turn 30 and you're a woman, you're either a MILF or you're out of the industry.
Well, that's what I think is really interesting about this movie is I think Jordan Peele. So Get Out is most explicitly about race.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
Us is more about class, but there's room to read racial elements in there.
I mean, when you talk about class,
there's
race, built-in automatic racial implications.
Yes, and this movie, the trailers make it seem like it's going to be more about race than Us.
Oh.
And yet because it starts off with that clip of like, the first black man, or the first stop motion picture
Sure.
was a black man on a horse, right? And that man was my grandfather, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the, was that the first trailer for this movie?
Great 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 grandfather.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And I feel like on the surface you could say that this movie kind of even seems less about race than Us.
Yeah.
However, I will say I think Jordan Peele does a really, really good job of avoiding being too on the nose about it. Like there's a really good shot early on in that scene where they're doing the sales pitch for the commercial, where you see Emerald, acted by Keke Palmer. She does her sales pitch, and then you just see this like shot of these white, like taken aback faces.
Yeah, like
that do not want to give these people the time of day.
Yeah,
right? And I think that was masterly crafted, where there's racial commentary,
mm-hmm.
But it feels very organic within the film.
And I think there is a really smart play here from Jordan Peele to not make all his movies about race.
Yeah,
because you don't want to be, you know,
you don't want to be
type exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to talk about race. I think, as a person of color myself,
Javier's a person of color.
I am a person of color.
Proud.
Oh no! This is I'm pretty Snoop Dogg song.
Is that what? Oh no! Oh no! So, ladies and gentlemen, back home, the little button on my soundboard just says "proud." I don't know what song that actually is.
So da 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 dum.
Okay, that's what it was. All right.
I can't remember the name of the song, but anyway, as someone who has been. Someone looked at my picture. I think I told you the story. Someone looked at my picture and said, "Well, at least he's not that dark."
Yeah.
These things are important to me too, right?
Yes.
But I think as people of color, there is sometimes
there's the talk about your stories only.
Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes you just want to tell a cool story, something that you think is important. And as someone who works in Hollywood, I think it's important for him to talk about his experience there too.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe might be a reflection of his, feelings maybe after Key and Peele,
right?
Where maybe his show ran its course, and maybe he felt like, oh well, what am I going to do now that my show's done? Am I done?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's very good. I think overall the story or the movie it's a fun ride.
Yeah.
The third act is great.
Third act is great.
I think it does take a little long to get going.
Yes.
Which kind of, it has a bit of a false start, I think, and
which actually got me thinking about my own biases, because my favorite movie, I believe one of your favorites, is Hereditary.
Oh,
right.
Yep.
And that movie is notorious for being a slow burn, right?
Sure.
Now, here's the thing. I was thinking about this actually as we left the theater. And one of my initial reactions was that I felt like this movie was slow, but not an effective slow burn.
Yeah.
And I was, and I could just be like off my rocker for even considering this. But I was like, Hereditary is like a very white movie. In fact, my joke name for that movie is
White People Need Jesus.
These White People Need to Go to Church, the movie.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And this is not a white movie, right?
No.
This is an explicitly black movie. So I was like, I wonder if like there's bias in me for like thinking that Hereditary is high art, and then saying like this movie needs to pick up the pace. I don't know.
So I think I don't want to turn this into a hereditary podcast, which I swear to God I fucking could.
Every episode is on Hereditary.
I could make this a hereditary podcast.
We'll go word by word.
Word by word. Dick by dick. But here's the thing. I think where this fails, where Hereditary doesn't, is that yes, Hereditary is a slow burn, but there's build-up.
Yeah.
And you can see that build-up happening, whereas in this, there are some parts where it just feels like nothing is happening.
Yeah.
And not only is that then, kind of boring, then you're kind of left going, well, the characters are not as interesting if them just having these conversations is not keeping me,
Right.
enthralled.
That and Hereditary is definitely a horror movie.
Yes.
Yes, and
And
I
I
know
think
there's a segment of small brain people who say that it's not. Um, it is.
it absolutely is. And those
This,
people are
yeah,
small brain indeed.
this is not a horror movie.
No. This is a
Uh,
sci-fi thriller, I would say.
this has some excellent horror elements.
There is one horror element in this.
There's a handful I love.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, three. So which a handful?
I guess a
Yeah,
handful,
yeah.
sure.
There's three horror elements that I absolutely love. Maybe three and a half.
I'm excited to see
Um,
what those are.
Yeah. But it's overall, I would say, it almost like the hero's journey part of it, like just kind of feels so strong and prevalent. And in many ways, like it's that optimistic type of Western, right? The American dream vibes and conquering the West are
Yeah.
very prevalent in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
That I think that if I don't think that he intended it to be a horror movie purely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so there's three answers. Either he didn't intend it to be a horror movie at all, and this just is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
He intended it and he missed the mark. Or a point that we've kind of made before, the genre of horror is really just much broader than people often give it credit for.
Yeah. So this falls flat under the genre
Yeah.
category, right? So
Yeah.
like when you hear about people saying like, "Oh, genre movies don't get the light of day," what they mean is these are movies that fall under the big umbrella of horror, suspense, sci-fi,
Yeah.
fantasy. Right, it's a big umbrella,
Yeah.
and so this I feel like while yes it is under that genre thing that big overarching genre umbrella, it leans towards horror,
Yeah.
but it's definitely more under the sci-fi.
It's got its foot in multiple camps.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's not a bad thing. So
No.
so think of it like how sometimes you have like an RPG and you can see your stats
Yeah.
and how you have your
He's a
speed.
well balanced character.
Exactly, and I think this movie does not lean as heavy into horror as I would say Us.
Right.
Us has some very like chilling.
Us has much more regular chilling imagery, chilling
Yes.
scenes.
This movie has some pretty good ones,
Yeah.
but overall, this does feel more like an adventure sci-fi movie. Like especially the
Yeah.
last act feels like a thrill ride.
And I think one final word I'll say about this bigger picture genre conversation is I'm just so tired of, and these types of people just need to shut the fuck up. The types of people whose main critique about a movie like this was like, I was expecting horror, and I didn't get horror.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I kind of regurgitated a similar point, but I think for these people, like they just have this very narrow vision view of what horror is,
Mm-hmm.
and anything that's billed as scary that's not a Michael Myers movie. They're just like, what the fuck, man? I had to use my brain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's kind of why, like, I don't know if I mean, I'm assuming you've probably noticed. Uh, man, oh man, am I in a big horror kick in the past few years?
Yeah.
I think horror is
It's a beautiful genre.
It's a fantastic genre.
We
It's
talked
an-
about this in my favorite movie of the year, Black Phone.
Black Phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think this movie. I think if you're slightly interested
Yeah.
in a movie that you think might be kind of fun, but still give you something to like think about, something to chew on, I
Yeah.
think this movie deserves to be seen.
Yeah. See it for sure.
See it for sure. It's very well acted. Everybody does a
Mhm.
fantastic job. Um, like we said, anything from a technical perspective, this movie is like top tier.
Yeah.
The cinematography, the score, just everything is
Yeah.
really, really good. But I think with that out of the way,
Yeah.
we can start going into some of the spoiler stuff,
For sure.
breaking into some of the characters, and let's go ahead and start with the cold open for this movie,
Yeah.
which is a scene that people have, from what I've seen in some reviews, people fucking love the scene.
The falling change.
No, that actually is not how the movie starts.
The monkey.
The movie starts with the monkey.
Yeah. That's one of
Um,
my, maybe not the opening itself, but the some of the monkey sequences are some of my favorite horror elements of this movie.
So there are some things in there that are very like, but people fixate
Yeah.
on that opening, and I feel like some people kind of misconstrue what the point of that is.
Mm.
Um, so what we don't realize at the beginning of the movie is that this cold open is kind of for the point of view of
Stephen
Ju-
Yeun.
Yep, Stephen Yeun. He is Ricky Park.
Yeah.
He is a young
Sitcom
actor in a show kind of similar to, like, I don't know, Alf.
Yeah, but with an
Right.
actual monkey.
But with a monkey,
Yeah.
which really heavily hits on the um,
Gordy is the name of the show.
Gordy's home.
Yeah.
And it kind of plays into the idea of these shows where they try to domesticate an animal.
Yes.
That, my God, you should never fuck with a chimp.
Yeah.
If you want a monkey, maybe use a spider monkey, a capuchin,
yeah,
a bonobo. But
well, there was that. It didn't happen on Oprah, but Oprah is the one who really covered
the lady who got her face ripped up.
Yeah. And it was interesting. So I think one of the cool things about this scene is it's not covered in the promo material.
No, you have no idea what's going on.
You are surprised.
Well, so there are a few shots in the trailers where you see the soundstage and it's empty.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes it seem like, well, maybe the aliens
abducted people. You would never guess it was a flashback. You would never guess it was a monkey.
Which is really good. It's a really good use.
Now, when I saw Stephen Yeun's when I saw Stephen Yeun's co-star actress in the trailers,
mm-hmm.
and I saw that face, I was like, oh, this alien, I assumed it was an alien, looks like the lady who got her face ripped off by a chimp. So I guess good job to them for the makeup involved in that.
Yeah.
Because I made that connection without knowing
mm-hmm.
the chimp was involved in this movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was an interesting choice to start the movie with something slightly unrelated to, like, the overarching mm-hmm. plot, right? So we do have that really weird scene where we have Otis Sr.
Yeah.
He's like looking up, and then there's a noise, which at first you're like, what the fuck is this sound? It sounds almost like wailing.
Yeah.
Like almost like a siren.
Yeah.
Very reminiscent to me. I don't know if you are familiar with, like, the creepypastas for, like, Siren Head.
I never got into creepypastas, but I know what they are. But
yeah.
I never got into them.
I never really did either. Right. Just in passing, people have mentioned. I know my brother was really into them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's this weird sound, and then you see things like falling. He gets hit in the face with a nickel.
Yeah.
Which I guess is kind of like, if you think about the theme of, like, how people are sometimes treated.
Yeah.
You're
throwing change.
You're throwing change at people, right?
Yeah.
And that's what did them in.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of a fun,
fun little piece of figurative language.
Exactly.
From the script.
Which is how the brother and sister are then left in charge of the ranch.
Yep.
And I think it's really interesting that he decides to keep the coin that killed his dad.
Yeah.
He, like, frames it. It's very reminiscent of Jupe, who decides to keep, like, the memorabilia of the Gordy incident.
Gordy went apeshit.
Yeah.
That was not intentional.
That was not intentional. That is a reference to...
On my part, hold on. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm here all night. It's my home.
You're not wrong. So they mentioned that when Gordy went, fucking batshit.
Yeah. Bananas.
Yes. He went bananas. They turned it into an SNL skit played by
Chris Kattan. Yeah. Crossover episode for How I Met Your Mother series with Jed Mosley.
No Can-Doosville.
No Can-Doosville. Baby doll.
Which is funny because if it wasn't for having those conversations like a couple of weeks ago, I would have been like, "Who the fuck is Chris Kattan?" So that was kind of fun. The the idea that you have Jupe who is building, he's really building his business on the coattails of like his tragedy,
Uh-huh.
right? He's kind of a washed up guy, I think.
Yeah.
He really has no claim to anything from what you see in his introduction.
I mean, it's a very pathetic image of child star turned fucking amateur
Carney,
carny. Yeah.
right? Like that's basically what,
Yeah.
which goes along with the theme of like once Hollywood is done using you,
Yes.
like you're kind of fending for yourself, fighting for scraps,
Yeah.
looking for the next big thing. This movie is very um, tied to the theme of spectacle, right? Even
Yeah.
the beginning of the movie starts with um, a quote. I don't know who exactly the quote is, for, but it's all about the spectacle. Like I will turn you into spectacle.
Right.
Um, and everything about this movie is chasing that
The perfect shot.
the perfect shot,
Mm-hmm.
right? The Oprah shot they call
Yeah.
it multiple times in this movie, um, which I think is also reflected by Antler, the director,
Yes.
right? We meet him at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
He is the guy shooting the commercial with the Haywoods.
Yeah.
He ends up replacing the horse with a CG horse
Right.
after an incident there, and he is after what he calls the impossible shot,
Uh-huh.
right? Something that is impossible, something that doesn't exist.
Right.
You cannot capture whatever this is.
And he's got this.
He's got this very deep male voice.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that good use of
Thank
the
you.
sound card.
Thank you.
But yeah, he's eccentric,
Yeah.
kind of representative of like these weirdos who are like looking for their art somewhere just completely weird.
Yeah.
We see him like editing footage of like animals hunting,
Yeah.
which
yeah.
again represented by the big creature, which big twist is not a UFO.
The UFO is not. Well, it's not a UFO. Just means unidentified flying object.
Yes, which is also now different, and it's addressed in
Unidentified
the
aerial phenomenon. Yep.
UAPs.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, so I think that was an interesting
Yeah.
turn, right? Because when you're watching the movie, I even was a little surprised.
That it's a creature.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
like in the trailers, like you see the UFO,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, I didn't think that he would have been okay with showing
The
what this
monster.
thing looks
Yeah.
like. But then when you realize like it's not a UFO, it's a creature.
Yeah.
Then I think I was like, oh, that's
Interesting.
interesting.
Yeah.
There is something to the idea of them chasing this dream.
Yeah. And it dovetails with another theme I really liked in this movie is this theme of territory, right? And territorial creatures.
Go on.
Because the way we find out, OJ, I think we talked about it, maybe kind of unorganically deduces that this isn't that. Well, maybe he finds out that it's a creature organically, but he deduces maybe a little unorganically that it'll kill you if you look at it in the eye, or the thing that the circle in the middle that you think is to beam you up. So to stay safe, you got to make sure you like avert your gaze, right?
Yes.
Which is how territorial animals often function.
Mhm.
Like, if you make eye contact with it, territorial animals, territorial people, right? Eye contact is huge, and people
Yeah.
marking their territory.
People will stare you down.
They will stare you down. They will take that as a sign of aggression, right? So
Mhm.
survival kind of comes. It's interesting. So you've got this movie that's all about pursuing the perfect shot, right? The Oprah moment.
Mm-hmm.
But survival also comes with like kind of staying in your lane,
Yeah.
right? And knowing your place.
Know your place.
And chimps, tying it back to the framing device of the chimp tragedy, they're famously territorial beings. And I can't remember exactly how much we see of the moment that makes the monkey snap.
We do see the scene happen. They're celebrating the birthday. They're kind of
Right.
showing how they were filming it without the
Yeah.
monkey in the scene, which they would then film the scene with the monkey and edit it together. And we see the
Yes.
balloon fly up and pop.
Yes. So it's that loud noise and this extravagance that causes the monkey to freak out.
Mm-hmm.
Other actors try to calm down the monkey. He fucks them up.
He fucks them up.
But baby Stephen Yeun, interestingly, hides his face, keeps his gaze averted. It's not until the monkey reaches in to give him a fist bump, right, that Stephen Yeun's baby self reciprocates. But it's the monkey who makes the first move, right?
Yes. So at that
yeah.
point, I think well, he doesn't understand this, right? Because he's a kid.
Right.
But at this point, the chimp is kind of come down from the high a little bit.
Yes, but even though he's a kid, he kind of does understand that he has to hide, and he's in the monkey's turf, right? So he can't. The monkey is taking control. He can't assert dominance over the monkey. He knows that in order to survive, he's gotta let the monkey make the first move.
Oh, see, I feel like that's where I see this differently, right? I feel like he misunderstands that.
Uh-huh.
He feels like because there's another shot
As an adult or as a child?
Both.
Okay.
So I feel like as a child, he believes that the monkey respects him and he trusts him.
Yeah.
Because in the show, they're friends and they fist bump. They show a clip of the show and they're fist bumping. And I think that kind of paints the idea that the monkey doesn't beat the shit out of him as, oh, the monkey trusts me. I gained his trust.
Right.
Look, we have this fist bump thing.
So okay.
You look like you wanted to interject.
So I agree, but I think it's all about timing. I think maybe that's something that he takes away from the experience.
Mm-hmm.
I think going into it, he has the instinct, which is something that's animalistic, to sort of let Gordy make the first move.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when traumatic shit happens, sometimes we rationalize in our heads, sometimes we take away the right lessons, sometimes we take away the wrong lessons. I agree that afterwards, and that's why he feels comfortable monetizing this, you might think, oh, the monkey was my friend, like I'm cool, I deserve to be able to, to capitalize on the situation.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's something that happens after the trauma. I think going into the fist bump, he knows to let the territorial beast be territorial and to sort of step out of its way and let it make the first move. But then the feeling of thinking me and the monkey are cool, I think that might happen after the incident and then is just sort of compounded from year to year.
Okay.
But many interpretations.
I think the fact that we have this this pair in M and OJ who they've been in this business for a long time, right? I think the implications is they've been in the business since the beginning. Same with the family.
Yep.
They have to resort to finding this like extravagant like spectacle
to sort of jumpstart
the rest of their career, right?
Yeah.
She wants like to do her side hustle.
Right.
He kind of not belittles her for like pitching her side gigs, and she's like, "Oh, you think that's my side gig? No, this is my side gig." You can't just like ride on your family name, even if your family name should ideally have this prestige, right?
Right.
Which I think that's interesting that then they resort to having to go to Fry's.
Yeah.
To get.
Which
I think is also kind of a funny. It goes with the theme because Fry's is defunct.
I was gonna say, where is Fry's now in the?
Fry's is done.
Done.
I think the last Fry's location that was open was in Burbank, which is the one that has a UFO crashed in it.
There's a big ass Fry's, 30-ish minutes from here.
The one on like by 355.
Yeah, and I was like, this is fucking huge.
It was a big deal.
Bigger than Best Buy.
Yeah. Which, funny enough, Best Buy's also tanking now.
Yeah.
Which I really do like the interaction that they have with Angel.
Right.
Angel, he is the guy who works at the local Fry's.
Mm-hmm.
He helps them set up. He tells them how to use the cameras. They are noticing that the cameras do go down when the ship,
When the ship is nearby.
quote unquote, is nearby, right?
Yeah.
Which kind of led to the initial implication that this was a spaceship, right?
Yes.
It would use some sort of EMP,
Right.
take down cameras so it wouldn't be spotted easily. But then I don't know how that fits in with this thing being an organic thing.
I mean, everything. I think even human beings have electromagnetic fields that are very weak.
I
So
suppose.
you can science some shit up.
You can science some
Yeah.
shit up.
Yeah.
Was there some part of you that was like, this alien's controlling the bugs?
This alien's controlling the what?
The bugs. Because the
Oh
fucking
yeah, there
that-
was actually because that praying mantis that was blocking the view
Mhm.
was like a bit too perfectly like
timed,
timed,
right? Because
placed,
like
yeah.
it was able to knock down the other
the other camera.
camera, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that leads to one of my personal favorite scenes, which is the scene in the barn.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the scene that I thought was where this movie peaked for me.
Yep.
Uh,
It's a spooky scene.
a very, very spooky scene.
Yeah.
With very unsettling looking, like fuzzy
Aliens.
monkey-like aliens,
Yeah.
right?
Which actually then goes. It's so to his credit as a red herring, of where the actual plot of this is going. Good job, because you see that monkey opening, then you've got these ape-like looking.
And
creatures.
that's what I thought
Yeah.
the movie was going, which I was like, this is what I wanted. I wanted like an alien
Yeah.
movie, which is, well, whatever. It's not what we get. Whatever. I'm not gonna.
But we kind of got it.
We kind of got
Yeah.
at least that scene. I do love I love his reaction, where the one sneaks up behind him, he just fucking just decks it.
Nope.
Nope. Very, very, very smart.
Right.
He's very stoic in this movie,
He is.
which makes him.
He's a man's man in this movie. I feel like
He's definitely
Yeah.
a man's man.
He's a cowboy.
He's a cowboy.
Yeah.
Very, very big contrast between him and M,
Yes.
who are both they come from the same cloth.
Yeah.
My goodness, they
They're
could not be more
Two
different.
totally different.
What did you think of the final reveal of, like in the third act, where
Mhm.
they kind of pull the curtain back, say this thing is not a ship, it's actually
A creature.
a creature, and that's how he understands, like, this is not just like a super advanced alien race. This is just a thing. It's
Yeah.
it's an animal.
Now, do we know for sure or for not sure if it's from this planet?
I don't think it matters.
Did you interpret it as being from Earth or from being not from Earth? Because I agree. I don't think that it matters.
I would say that it's almost like a cryptid,
Yeah.
so similar to like a Nessie or a
I see.
Bigfoot. Like, it's able to camouflage itself so well. It's just a creature that just happens to exist in our.
But then native to Earth.
I would
Yeah.
say so.
I still kind of left the movie thinking it was an alien.
I mean, it could be.
I like, now that we're talking about it, I like that it's so ambiguous,
Mhm.
because I didn't even really give that a second thought.
Mm-mm.
Right. I liked the reveal. I thought it was a fresh take
Mhm.
on the promo material and what you could do with a UFO movie.
Mhm.
I mean, I think the shots of the creature look beautiful.
They're
right?
bonkers,
Especially when it's like unraveling, like a big parachute.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
have you ever seen Evangelion?
No, but I feel like I may have seen shots that look like this. but I
Yeah.
couldn't totally-
So in Evangelion, the big monsters are called angels.
Yeah.
Very similar to that. And I mean, we know.
Well, it looks like a lot of actual biblical imagery for some of the angelic powers. It does look like that. It looks like a throne,
Yes.
which is the big wheelie ones
Mhm.
with the many eyes. Which I'm curious as to if that was an intentional parallel. But anyway,
I think so.
yeah,
I think there's been some discussions about that.
yeah,
And I mean, he's also a big fan of anime and all that.
He is.
Those weird like visuals, especially from that show.
I have to go back and read Ezekiel and see if I see Nope Ezekiel parallels, because that's where you see the big wheelie things in the Bible. But anyway, so my three favorite horror elements, which dovetails into the fact that this is that's the twist. I like the furry aliens. Not they were not aliens.
Mm-hmm.
I like the chimp scene. I love the scene where the alien has eaten everybody at the ranch, and then it just like pours this like definitely like very fake but just cool looking blood and water mix like down the house. Oh, I love that. I thought that was a cool horror thing.
It was a really cool
Yeah.
a really cool scene. Also, it kind of shows that this thing is smarter
Yes.
than
the average bear.
Yeah. So like we are aware that this thing is not a ship. We know that this
Right.
is a single entity, right? But it's also very spiteful
Yeah.
because they kind of trick them into eating a horse, a plastic horse.
Yeah. It's not happy.
It is pissed.
Yeah.
Which also coincides with how everything goes down with Jupiter
Mhm.
in his sideshow, right? He's been feeding this thing on a weekly basis, feeding him,
Horses.
and not just his horses. He's
Yeah.
been feeding them,
OJ's.
OJ's horses, and so that's a really funny scene where OJ's like, "Hey, can we talk about buying these horses back?"
Yeah.
And Ricky's like, we'll see about that later, buddy." Knowing damn well that those horses are
Yeah, Gonzo.
are gonzo now.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of then shown that when he wants him to perform,
Mm-hmm.
it's not happy,
Yeah.
right? So like this animal, for lack of a better term, has been perfectly fine taking these horses for at least 6 months.
Yep.
And now that he wants him to do what he wants, and he's almost like commanding him to do it
For the people.
and everybody's like staring at it.
Yeah.
He does not like it; just eats
Eats 'em
everyone up.
Yeah.
It's a fucking massacre. Which then does lead to a scene that I think is really cool, where they show you the inside of it.
Yeah, and that's my half horror element that I really love.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you see all the people kind of just like stuck there.
And that's where you kind of learn that it's organic. You're not
Yes.
explicitly told, but you're like, oh, this doesn't look like a. I don't see rooms. I don't see operating tables. I see this weird tunnel of fleshy substance.
Sure, which I mean, I when I first saw that, I didn't immediately think of like, oh, this is an organic thing, because
Yeah.
when you see a lot of alien stuff, even on the inside of ships, a lot of it can look semi-organic,
Like that level in Halo 2.
like a level in Halo 2,
Actually, Halo 3.
or in Mass Effect,
Yep.
or in Mass Effect. Some of the, like, when people get kidnapped in the game,
Yeah.
they're put into like pots. I was like, oh, maybe they're like in a pot type of thing.
Yeah.
But then you see it kind of like milks them
Yeah.
and like squirts out all the like the blood on, over them. Um, and I don't know if you kind of caught this, but like when at the end, when they're kind of showing what the creature finally looks like in its final form,
Yeah.
it almost looks like a camera lens.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of really
Like an old timey one.
like an old timey
Yeah.
camera. Yeah, you see kind of like the I don't even know what it's called, the like not the lens,
We'll
almost
call
like
it the
like a
lens.
reticle.
Yeah.
And it kind of like pulses, and it's just representative of, like, you want to be in front of the camera. You
Right.
want that spotlight on you, but now that it's on you, it's gonna kind of eat you up.
It's carnivorous.
It's gonna fuck your shit up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think this film. So it was interesting. I don't think we discussed this, but one of my gut reactions after watching it that night was I was like, I wonder if Steven Yeun's character and then Antlers could have been condensed into like one character. Not that they have similar arcs per se, although they do kind of have unhealthy relationships with spectacle. But I felt like I needed just a bit more of both of them.
Mhm.
Now that we've talked about it, I feel less strongly of that opinion. And
Yeah.
I wonder if this is one of those films that you just kind of need to like
Sit
sit with and ruminate with, which confirms what I was thinking before. I was like, this could actually make a great novel where you have these
Yeah.
pieces and there's like it's very much a multifaceted story.
Mhm.
It's slow, right? There's so you could get these episodes rather than just like a whole. Um, but just like with novels, you appreciate them when you get to chew on them
Mhm.
a little bit.
I really do like Antler's character, and like he's representative of like the artiste, right?
Yeah,
Like the guy who's willing to do whatever it takes to get his shot.
yeah,
He is not just happy with getting that big, which we do see. We see that he gets this money shot.
yep.
But he is not content with that. He wants the shot
The
that
impossible shot.
he
Yeah.
wants that shot that he knows is gonna
Yeah.
cost him his life, but my God, he's gonna get it.
Yeah,
And I like to think that he got his shot and that it survived, because it's that thing spits out anything that's not organic.
yeah,
And that little
I guess
camera that he had, maybe it's not like the most like durable thing,
but
but
it depends on the fall damage, I suppose. But we
I
never
mean-
get that. We never get that confirmation, right?
we don't.
Yeah.
But I mean, my assumption is like maybe the camera doesn't make it,
Right.
but the film,
The film might
the
still
film's
survive.
gotta.
Yeah.
So I think he gets his shot.
Yeah.
The ambition is there for him, even if it kills him.
Which is interesting because if that's the case, which once again the film doesn't confirm for us, if that's the case, it's very interesting that he gets that thing that he's searching for, but he never really gets to reap the benefit of that reward, and it costs him his life. But think about how many fucking famous people aren't famous until after they
And I think,
after they die.
and I think his character kind of goes with that. Like he is perfectly fine dying for his shot.
Yeah.
Like he knows damn well. Like he
Yeah.
could be content with getting a shot that ain't nobody else getting.
Right.
But it's not until he's willing to go down with the ship for it.
I am trying to see what I gave this movie in terms of like out of 5 stars. I would be comfortable giving it an extra half a star
I think
after this conversation.
I the more I sit with it, and the more that I look at like it's the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
I think it's sitting better with me.
Yep.
What
I give it
is
3.5. Well, 3.5 might be fair actually.
what is your take on the end of the movie? Did OJ make it?
I did interpret that he made it. I know some people think that it's an illusion or hallucination. When you say make it, you mean did he survive?
Yeah.
Right? I do think he survived.
I like to think he did.
Yeah.
I think Jordan Peele does a good job of making sure that his heroes,
Yes.
they get their justice.
Yeah, I don't see him being cruel to his heroes.
No, he
Definitely.
seems like he doesn't want to make them suffer more than they need to.
Exactly.
I did think it was a nice callback to call the alien creature jean jacket as a
Yeah.
reference to the horse that they couldn't tame
Yeah.
when they were younger. Giving Em a chance to tame the horse that she wasn't able to tame,
Yeah.
right? Because that was supposed to be her horse.
Yeah.
You said you didn't like the name cards, right?
The name cards.
How they would
that
show
changed the scene and the act. Yeah, I felt that kind of cut with the pacing. I didn't feel like it added a lot.
I kind of wish it would have had more. It just felt like, yep, that's the horse is gonna get eaten right now.
Yeah.
But other than that, except for Gordy, I think they gave a card for Gordy.
For Gordy.
But
Right.
it's not much of a thing. I think if people are interested in this movie, they should definitely watch it.
For sure.
It's a fun watch. I do look forward to watching this again.
I do too. We saw it in IMAX, so that's the kicker. If if I see it again, it's probably not going to be on such a big screen, which was gorgeous for this film.
Yes. Which I thought was
Yeah.
interesting. That so normally IMAX is, you had the big, huge, almost rectangle shot, which is really good for giving you like a huge sense of scale.
Right.
Things look way taller. Um, but this movie used it very weird. I don't know if you noticed that most of the movie was very rectangular,
Mm,
and they just had like a little tiny bit at the top and a little tiny bit at the bottom.
interesting.
And then when there was like the huge sprawling shot, like OJ being chased by the ship,
Yeah.
the big angel form almost at the end. Then
Right.
it was using like the full.
Full screen.
I was like, why, if you're gonna make that distinction,
Right.
why waste the rest of the movie on the normal, almost full, not just go for the full time.
I'm curious as to. I would have to go back and see. I mean, those wide shots are definitely, going back to the film setting in the West. It's definitely conducive to that like wide open expanse of possibility.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe what part of the reasoning for that is it just highlights those being wide and full and open and spacious.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. That's a good question.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I'm still very much looking forward to. I don't think that it is unwarranted when people say that he is a 3 for 3 director right now.
Yeah.
He's a great director. He knows what he wants and he gets it.
Yes.
I was hoping for just a little more out of this.
Yeah, but it also, like I said, I think it might just need to sit with you, digest.
Digest.
And
I mean, and that's what it's been for a lot of his movies. I don't want to say famously because who the fuck cares what I think, but I famously did not love Get Out at first.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Us was okay.
Yeah.
I still think that movie falls apart if you
plot wise. Yeah, but I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I think somebody
or the premise.
The premise, like I think the mechanics of like trying to link everything to the tunnels.
Yeah.
Like just the movie would have been better off if it just hadn't tried to do that.
Right.
Because it really does fall apart if you even just think about it just a little bit.
Yeah.
It's still a great fucking movie.
Yeah, I love Us.
Especially after sitting through it and like listening to what people think about it.
Yeah.
It's a really enjoyable movie to like listen to people talk about.
Yeah.
I think this movie could go the same way.
Us is still my favorite. I think Get Out is. But what's masterful about Get Out is you fucking get that movie right away, right?
Yeah.
Like this one you kind of get, but like the richness definitely comes more out of conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I think any who am I to even speak about this? But I think any artist who matures, you maybe do make the Get Outs early and they're kind of your magic in the bottle, but you should kind of make those movies that make you chew on them a bit more as you come out.
Yeah, and I mean when you sit and you think about like the characters and why they're good, it makes sense that OJ understands this creature. He's grown up taming horses, and horses they're unruly. They may not be super dangerous. They will fuck you up.
Yeah.
But they're still he gets the animals in the way that other characters don't, which makes sense to me.
Well, but that's the interesting thing, and I'm glad we had the genre conversation earlier because like there's just this expectation of fan bases that your later material is going to be simultaneously groundbreaking, but also hit the exact same notes that your first stuff did.
Sure.
Right? I saw Green Day over the weekend at Lollapalooza, famously my favorite band.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have not the unique. There's other bands that did this, but they have the rare accolade of they released a game-changing album, in 1994, right, with Dookie that defined pop punk. It did after that, and then they released American Idiot, which then also was radically different, but then proceeded to define pop punk after that.
Sure.
Right. Not many musical groups can say they've like done that. A, let alone once, but then B, twice.
Yeah.
Right. But then you have fan bases who are like, oh, this isn't American Idiot. This isn't Dookie, right?
Yeah.
And that's fair, but it's like, it's not humanly realistic to just expect people to churn out
Banger after banger after banger after banger.
after banger. And then this is just like music as a medium, but then just to fucking say you're gonna sit there and give an album like one listen and be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like I think that's what's kind of cool about this, the conversation that this movie's involved in, and the history of Peele's work, where you have Get Out, which is very accessible in terms of like what it's about, right?
Sure.
People who aren't even interested in like social justice conversations or might not lean that way, they fucking get what
Yeah.
they fucking get the message of Get Out, right? I've met people who it took them a little longer to get the message of Us, but I would say Us is, still a little bit more on the nose. This one, you get the message on the surface, but then, like we said, once you discuss it, you kind of appreciate
Yeah, I think
more.
it's a movie that I think out of all of his movies, this is the easiest one to understand. I think it wears its themes on its sleeves.
Yeah.
But that does not mean that discussing the themes.
Yes. It's easy to
Takes
understand
away.
on a surface level,
Yes.
but then there's a whole rest of the iceberg
Mhm.
underneath it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Overall, good time.
Yeah.
I still don't think it's gonna be my top movie of the summer. That's still very solidly.
It's still Black Zone for me.
I mean,
and
I
it's
love.
still-
Don't get me wrong. I
It's still
love Black
Danger Zone.
Phone.
It's still Danger Zone for you.
It's God. I mean, I just
Which you saw today for the
I saw it again today.
What
This is
number
my
time?
Fifth time.
Fifth time that
It's
Javier
so
has
fucking good.
gone to the Danger
Gone
Zone.
to the danger zone.
Yeah.
It's so fucking good.
Yeah, stay tuned for Halloween costumes this year.
Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah, me
I
too.
gotta diet so that I can fit into my suit again.
Yeah, when I wear my American flag, onesie that is not flattering on the shape of my body, but that's all right. That's all right.
You have self confidence that I
Yeah.
do not have. My
Body
friend.
positivity.
Body positivity.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. On that note,
On that note, we are Javier and Thano.
we are Javier and Thano. Indeed, we will be back soon with probably. I think our next movie review will be
Bullet Train.
Bullet Train.
Which I'm just excited to get over with. Not that I think it'll be fine. I've just seen so many trailers that I'm like, I just want to fucking see this. I think we should see Jaws on the big screen.
Maybe.
I think we should see Jaws on the big screen.
Don't get me wrong. I like Jaws, but it's just one of those movies that I'm just like.
Yeah. But I think since we saw this year, I think we got to see Jaws now.
It is such Jaws like energy.
It's fucking Jaws.
Which
man.
I think
Yeah.
I like watching the movie. I was like, this is fucking Jaws.
Yeah.
But I think having the trailer in front of this for Jaws in
That
IMAX,
just
I was like,
like-
oh man, that is that you're just asking for the
Yeah.
comparison.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, very very fun time.
Yes.
All right, everybody, we'll be back soon.
We'll be back. Are
Until
they
next-
getting this first, or they're getting him first?
I'll probably upload this probably tonight or tomorrow.
All right. So you'll see this, and then How I Met Your Mother.
With your mother.
Yeah. Churn that art, boy.
Turn that out, boy. Oh no! All right, everybody, have a good one. Bye.
Bye. Wait.
Oh, which one? God damn it! All right, bye, everybody.